Ready to unlock the secrets to thriving in the therapy business? Join us for an electrifying episode of the Professional Hypnotherapist podcast. We dive deep into the mastermind himself, Kev Webster. And if you're a therapist struggling to connect your unmatched skills with the people who need them most, you can't afford to miss this. In this riveting conversation, Kev unpacks the essential strategies to skyrocket your practice, even in today's digital landscape. Discover how to stay enthusiastic, break free from the chains of self-doubt, and bring unparalleled value to your clients. But that's not all. Kev will reveal the ultimate marketing hacks, simplify and dominate with common sense tactics, boosting your online presence from zero visibility to YouTube star. Personal growth tips, break down psychological barriers and slay the imposter syndrome. Exclusive resources and offers, access tools and communities that transform. Feeling bogged down by complex diet plans? Kev's got the scoop on why tackling the sugar epidemic is your golden ticket to true well-being. Gear up to revolutionize your practice, join a supportive community, and let's conquer those business blues together. Tune in to the Professional Hypnotherapist podcast now, and let success become your new normal. Kev Webster, thanks so much for joining me today on the Professional Hypnotherapist podcast.
It's great to be here, Aidan.
I'm really happy to have you as a guest. And you have a wonderful social media presence out there and a great following. But before we get into all of that, Kev, tell us some little thing about yourself that not many people know.
Okay, let me think. Well, I've always been a bit of a geek when it comes to things that are a bit more alternative. At the age of 15, I took my paper round money and I paid to be initiated into transcendental meditation. So the Mahesh Yogi, who I think the Beatles made them famous. And,
yes.
and it does make me chuckle thinking back that I've always been a little bit woo-woo with things in my outlook. And though my feet are firmly on the ground as well, I think I always did have my head in the clouds as well. So it always makes me smile when I think about, some of the things that I did when I was younger, like that.
Interesting. It's amazing what how we start off and what motivates us. And indeed, what motivates you, Kev?
What motivates me? Well, I think service, helping people.
Yeah.
That is a big motivator for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then that's a nice segue into your work as a therapist and a marketing guru or marketing expert. So, tell us about your work as a hypnotherapist. What specifically got you into that type of work?
Well, it wasn't therapy, actually. I trained after being in business for many years, doing different businesses, marketing, manufacturing, distribution. I decided, well, everything came to a bit of a halt when I went bankrupt when I was 42. Everything went, house, divorce, business, the lot. And it was like, I think I need to behave in a different way. And so I went down the route of studying counselling. I went to university to study counselling, and I didn't enjoy it. 4 years, and I didn't particularly enjoy it. And so I went back to my design and graphics and marketing route. And I'm always one for getting out of my comfort zone. And so I decided to learn magic and mentalism to put on a show, to actually do a proper live show so at some point. And so I thought, in order to do that, and I was a big fan of Darren Brown, I thought, in order to do that, I need to learn some hypnosis. So I went and did a weekend street hypnosis, impromptu hypnosis with Anthony Jacquin. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. And during that weekend, I learned that Anthony has a father called Freddie. And I thought, and he's also a hypnotherapist. And I'm thinking, well, if Anthony's this good at doing what he does, and Freddie's a therapist, I'm interested in learning some of that as well. So I called Freddie up on the phone. He was walking his dog on the beach in Hornsea at the time, and which is only like 30 miles away from where I live. And I said, "Do you do any training?" And he said, "Actually, I've got a retreat coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Why don't you join us?" And the rest is history, really,
History.
because I
Yes.
want I was going in to learn it for doing a show, and for entertainment point of view, and I was so taken by the power of hypnotherapy that was missing for me in counseling that it just flipped a switch. And I
Yeah.
thought that's the missing link.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And sure, who doesn't know Freddie, Jacquin, and Anthony? Great, great guys.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that, Kevin, about you studied counseling. And what was that one thing or series of things that made hypnotherapy different or more appealing to you?
Well, I think it was the effectiveness. And I'm not saying that counseling isn't effective,
Hmm.
but for me, I felt as though I could be doing more. And when you consider that some of my clients I saw for more than 20 weeks, for me, that felt a little bit like recycling the pain. And the sort of intervention side of it, it was person-centered counseling. So the intervention side of it felt quite minimal. And, I enjoyed it, but I found it quite frustrating. And so I was looking for something that was a little bit more immediate and effective without dragging up the misery of it all. Because I've always been a believer that when you drag misery up, then you're just reprogramming the mind to believe in the same old, same old. And it doesn't clear that space for a new mindset.
Yeah. So there's a rapidity, a quickness, a better, faster, easier way with hypnotherapy. Would you agree?
Yes, and I think it's gentler as well.
Yeah, yeah. We touched briefly on the whole concept of being of service. And I firmly believe that, that's what it's all about. You're serving people. I think it comes from whether it be the Swedish or the Norwegian, the cellier, to serve, and because you're selling, but you're serving. What's your take on all of that, Kev?
Well, I think to be in service takes away the kind of ego side of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So I'm not the expert on their misery, their pain, or their suffering. They are. And essentially, I'm giving some guidance to, giving some signposts to look in a different direction to see that there are other ways of looking at things. And I think that's it. And I think being generous as well, with within the service, being generous and uplifting.
Yeah.
I don't want people to be reliving the past. That isn't my approach. I will often say to people, this is content free, and I'm more interested in the present moment than the past. Because, my belief system is that the past is just a shadow, and that the present moment is where we can make some real change in order to enjoy, a future that is unfettered by whatever has gone on in the past.
Mhm.
But that
But
is just
what if the past haunts somebody?
what if the past haunts someone?
Yeah.
Well, well, my philosophy around that would be that haunting is quite simply a thought,
Right. Okay.
and we can
And what do
change.
you do with the thought?
Well, we can decide whether that thought is being useful or whether we can just let it pass
Yeah.
because we have free will,
Okay.
and to recognize that there's free will. And a lot of what I'm talking about, really, I guess, here is that I've been influenced quite a lot by the three principles as well of that mindset, of seeing that we do create our reality with the quality of our thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And that's really, really important. Now, you spoke about briefly there about being generous, and that takes us on to your work. Apart from your thriving practice and all that you offer in hypnotherapy, but you also have a very vibrant community online in the marketing area. Tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. Well, the one thing that I did find when talking to other hypnotherapists is that they were struggling to get their voice out there, to be seen, to be visible online. And with, after, the lockdowns came and everything, they didn't really have much choice than to get online and to be visible. We lived through some unusual times when it come to doing therapy. Some people said, "Oh, you can't do hypnotherapy online." I didn't know any different. Um, and but I saw that a lot of them were struggling to get their head around, being on social media, getting on camera, all of those things. All of those things were things that I'd already been learning about in my internet marketing career. So these were all tools that I was already using. And I've just come off a call today helping a hypnotherapist rank his video #1 on YouTube. Um, and by following a formula that I learned years ago, completely white hat, which means it's 100% legal, and just following a formula, following a process, checking the boxes. He's now #1 and #2 for hypnotherapy for anxiety and stress in his area. Now, that's a huge coup, and empowering hypnotherapists to be able to do things like that to help themselves become more visible, certainly lifts them. Because let's face it, hypnosis is one of those businesses. It's not like you're a barista and you've just got to make coffee. And the style of the coffee and what you do on the top of it, depends on your artistic skill. But essentially, you've learnt the skills and you know the temperatures and everything like that. Hypnosis isn't like that. Hypnosis, I mean, in the book Beyond Pills and Potions, the writer says, yeah, you've got to be one least uncertain in the room. And yet, a lot of people coming through hypnotherapy training come away from it feeling a huge amount of uncertainty about their skills or about their abilities, about their, I guess, in a way, whether they're worthy of helping people. Why should people trust me? Why should people believe in me? So a certain amount of sort of imposter syndrome creeps in for people. And because let's face it, it's a big responsibility when you look at it, especially when they think it's my job to change this person, which obviously I don't believe it is. I believe it's my job to point that person in the right direction, but they're the one who are going to do that change. So hypnosis is one of those unique areas where the practitioners have an awful lot of psychological barriers to get past. Ironic. I often say to hypnotherapists, you should be the best marketers in the world. Because obviously the power of suggestion and persuasion, not in a negative way, but persuasion and suggestion is something that they understand the mechanics of. So yeah, I love helping people to see that and to help them. And I see it as being quite therapeutic for them because it allows them to get out of their own way and their own limited beliefs to see, like this gentleman, is well into his 60s and he's there ranking #1 on YouTube for what he does. And it was just, well, I can't believe it. I can't believe it was that easy. I said, well, isn't that what you say to your clients? And they
Yes,
say to you. So it's very
yes.
related in a sense. It's very related. So yeah, and I've built that community over the last 3 years, over 4,500 hypnotherapists, therapists, and coaches in the Hypnosis Business Club, which is a Facebook group, and I deliver lots of marketing resources for free into that group. People get a lot of value from it, and I follow a philosophy of you give away your best stuff for free, and people will come back to you and ask you to buy your services when they're ready.
Well, that's the podcast finished. No, no, no. I know you have extensive experience in that area, but you mentioned, we'll come back to that. We mentioned earlier about the imposter syndrome. How do you help hypnotherapists with that?
How do I help them with that?
Mm.
Well, I have. I mean, I actually did a little program called it was the Eight Lanterns of the Shadows of Doubt.
Uh,
And it went through it was a very much a storytelling. It almost sounds like a kind of a Native American Indian story of the reasons why people doubt, and each one is symbolized by a lantern. So I actually have that as been a little program, and I think it's like a 50-minute hypnosis sort of meditation um, recording that they can listen to. But it actually talks beforehand. It talks about why they have doubt. Yeah, all the logical reasons. And it's a bit like when people go through a smoking protocol, they will understand the logical reasons of why they do it and how they started and everything, and the good reasons why not to do it. And I kind of presented it in that kind of way where it's like an education as well then as an experience of listening to. But I think it's people have their own reasons for doubting their abilities or doubting their skills or feeling worthy or confidence. So there are lots of things going on.
mm.
I don't think there's one method that's as a cure-all for that. But when people realize why they might doubt themselves, and that is a perfectly natural response to the responsibility that they're putting on themselves, and probably feeling over responsible for other
And
people's well-being.
confidence, of course.
Confidence is a yeah
Yeah, self-esteem.
is a huge thing. Yes,
Yeah. Now, I note also, Kev, that you do work in the whole area of employee well-being. Um, as a hypnotherapist, did you find that the word hypnosis was a barrier to you?
absolutely. Yeah,
How
yeah.
did you overcome that?
Well, I approached it more about well-being, relaxation, and mindfulness. So that's how I packaged it. And one of the clients that I still work with today, worked with for nearly 4 years now, a big college, over 1,000 staff. And they approached me. Somebody had referred them to me, somebody who
Yeah.
had delivered some free group sessions to. They were temping as a secretary there. And it had come up to say, does anybody know any therapists that can be done online that we could help our staff with for relaxation and mindfulness? And this lady put her hand up and said, I know someone, you need to speak to Kev Webster. So I got a call from the HR manager and she says, what do you do? I said, I can't really tell you, but I can show you if you'd like to get
Excellent.
a group of
Yes.
your staff together. So she pulled in, I think, maybe 10 staff, and I did a half-hour session. And for me, it was a bit of a showcase. So I've got these people on this session, and I said to them, I'm going to give you a demonstration of hypnosis. So I stuck their hands together, and I did a relaxation exercise, and then I said at the end of it, I'm going to have some fun with the power of suggestion. And then I did a mind reading trick on both the HR manager and the secretary who'd organised the event. It was quite interesting because the lady who had recommended me a couple of weeks later, she said to me, what did you do to the HR team? So I said, what do you mean? She said, all they're talking about is you mind reading two of them and you being absolutely 100% accurate. And they said they cannot believe it was impossible for you to have known the answer. Um, and I said, well, that was just a little gift to leave them. I did tell them it wasn't hypnosis, it was a mind reading trick, but
Yeah.
they couldn't work it out. So I left them with a good feeling. Um, I've just recently got another booking for them for 7 sessions. Um,
Lovely.
that happens on a regular basis. So
Right.
yeah, they use me as their well-being week hypnotherapist. They're quite happy with hypnotherapy now, but
Lovely.
I framed it originally as mindfulness,
Good.
relaxation.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what is modern mindfulness?
Well, I guess it's a kind of a catch-all term for me for for whatever I'm finding inspiring, and that can help people at the time. And it's a moment-to-moment thing as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's honoring the individual as to where they're at on their journey, and then trusting my innate wisdom to give me some answers of how I might be able to help them and support them.
Excellent. Now, to come back to hypnotherapy per se, you have lots of free resources on your own website. But as you mentioned previous, you also have the marketing mingle. Tell us about that.
Okay, so every week, every Thursday at 8 p.m., people can come onto the marketing mingle through the Hypnosis Business Club group on Facebook. And they can come along and I will put on something to help them as far as their marketing is concerned. Now, some weeks I've done using ChatGPT and Canva. Other weeks, I've invited a guest. Last week we had Daniel Hedrick, the hypnotherapist from the US, who give a talk about his guerrilla marketing tactics, how he, back in 2002, used to promote himself. And it really was for him, it was turning up in person, being the hypnotist and showcasing what he did, and not being stuffy about it. I've covered so many things and I've done it now for years, the marketing mingle. And we can get up to, I think the most we've had is 87 people on a marketing mingle. And so I will teach what I know.
Yeah. And the marketing mingle, of course, nicely segues into the therapy business club. Maybe you tell us about that.
Okay, so the Therapy Business Club is a little bit of a dream come true, to be quite honest,
Mm.
because when I first started the Hypnosis Business Club Facebook group, the idea was that I would find a way of distilling that, and finding a way of delivering something a little bit more direct to into a membership platform. And yet, with all my internet marketing skills, I'd never really mastered a membership platform. And then a conversation I got into with Ewan Jupp, who's now the co-founder of the Therapy Business Club, and he mentioned, well, I used to build membership sites and build them from scratch, code them, everything. That was my job. You know, I can do this in my sleep. And a conversation started, and 4 weeks later, we launched the Therapy Business Club membership, and we've had such a resounding response and success with it. And
Yeah.
some people are making some incredible shifts because we have modules in there, we have a library in there, we have
Yeah.
resources in there. You know, it's an incredible resource for
Mm.
people.
So, what should a hypnotherapist out there is looking, seeking help? What should they look for on, for example, on Facebook? What do they need to look out for in terms of identifying your presence there?
Okay, well, if first of all, if they look out for me, Kev Webster, and they'll find
Yeah.
me on there, and they'll recognize the cap on my photograph. They can then search for the Hypnosis Business Club. That is a private group, but they'll find it, but then they just have to fill in a few questions to show that they are a therapist, because we
Yes.
try and keep the environment clear of people who are just trying to sell people things, and
Yes, of
don't
course.
we don't tolerate that. We soon kick them out if they do start doing that. Um,
Yeah.
and once they're in there, then they've got access in the file section to probably about 30 different PDFs and resources.
Yeah.
Everything from Google My Business Profile training to Canva training, all sorts of things are in there. And then once they're in there, they will see some posts in there about the Therapy Business Club membership as
Yes.
well.
Yeah. And you have at the moment, I think you have a special offer at the moment. Tell us about that.
For the Therapy Business Club, we have an
Yeah.
offer. Now, it's normally $47 a month.
Yeah.
And what we've said is that if people want to come and try try it out for 14 days. We have an offer of $27. That gets them into the Facebook group where we do pop-ups. In fact, we've got one today at 2 p.m. And that's a pop-up for 15 to 20 minutes where people just come in and ask you and I questions on Zoom live. We also do a 1.5 hour session on a Wednesday night as well, which is the coaching lounge. Again, where we'll teach and we'll do a Q&A. And they get access to all of the resources. Put it this way, if they were to join today and they were start on module 1 and going through the resources, they wouldn't get through everything by Christmas.
Wow.
That's how packed it is. But the beauty is they could find an area they want to really excel in, like maybe YouTube, or they might want to be on social media more. They would find all of the resources. It's all searchable as well.
Yeah.
So that's the offer, $27 for 14 days, complete access to everything.
Bear in mind now to those listening that this podcast is being recorded the very last day of September 2024. So that's important to remember if you're watching this and listening to this later on. But I'm sure if they contact you, you can help them out in your own unique way. Let's backtrack a little bit, Kevin, if you don't mind. And I note that you work with clients who have, for want of a better word, a sugar addiction. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, something that really struck me a few years ago, I was reading a paper by the hypnotherapist from Fort Lauderdale, Gerald Kine, and he was saying that really a lot of weight loss problems can be solved quite quickly when people get over their sugar addiction. And he really went into deep detail about the evils of sugar. And it really struck me as being this makes total sense. And when you think about the amount of sugar that's hidden within food, as well as just the obvious, putting it on your cereal. And so really, I found that as being a great go-to place. And it's something that people can identify as well. Instead of diets, which, I'm not a big fan of the idea of diets. I mean, some diets, I believe, are actually designed to keep people just under that kind of level of satisfaction. So that it's almost like a multi-level marketing system. But what I really gleaned, the wisdom from what Gerald Kine had to say, was that sugar is really a kind of a keystone in the whole weight, the weight gain and health, because obviously they've got type 2 diabetes and all these types of things, which are all on the increase. And so I think he called it the evils of sugar or something like that. And then there are some great videos online on YouTube all about sugar and how it is completely, basically overtaken the Western world. Now, even not just the Western world, across the world. And, and the politics behind sugar as well are all discussed within some of those videos if you search them, online. So, yeah, really the sugar addiction stuck with me as being, wow, you help somebody with that, you're helping them in so many different ways.
Business opportunity, yeah.
Definitely.
It's a business forgive me, I interrupted you. You saw it as a business opportunity.
Well, not just a business opportunity, I just saw it as a logical thing to offer.
Okay,
because it was going to change so many things.
Yeah. Find the need and satisfy the need, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Though I don't look at my kind of approach to marketing necessarily from that way of looking at things.
Okay.
I try and look at it as being common sense.
Right. Back to serve.
I like the common sense element.
Yeah.
And if it's common sense that if people, sugar has no place in our diet. And if we stop excess sugar, even as a start as an excess sugar, people will notice a huge difference. And so it seemed common sense to focus on that instead of weight loss or diet or gastric band or anything like that. the sugar thing seemed to be just going down to a really basic modern world issue. And
It's
that
almost as if, it's so obvious that it's like, trying to see the wood for the trees.
I like to uncomplicate things.
Yeah,
And that made it very uncomplicated for
yeah,
me.
yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you for that. Now, this is, as I say, this is Monday, the end of September. Right now, in terms of um, the therapy business club or the marketing mingle, what's happening now? For example, this is Monday. Tell us the next events that come to you that you think is important that are the people listening to this should be focusing on or be
Okay.
aware of.
Well, the marketing mingle, sometimes I don't decide what I'm going to be doing until Monday or Tuesday. I've got a loose idea for this week, which is going to be taking Chat GPT prompts to another level. So that's what I'm really that's the idea I'm flirting with at the moment, but I'll decide
Yeah.
properly this afternoon and put it out there. As far as the Therapy Business Club's concerned, Ewan and I are working on a couple of projects at the moment. One of those projects is to put out a scholarship so that people can win a scholarship to the Therapy Business Club. So
Excellent.
that's one thing we've got all of the paperwork done, but we're just going through it together. We're also a competition. We're looking at a competition within the actual membership to encourage people to up their game using very, very economical resources. So I think the first thing we're going to do for October is to do a little competition for someone to create a video around stop smoking, with it being October next, just using Canva. No other tools, recording
Right.
their voice, putting all the graphics together, putting some music in the background, and creating something epic as a no more than 2 minute video on Canva. And we haven't decided on the prize yet, but we're gonna be discussing that this afternoon. So there's two things: a scholarship, which is for the outside world of
Yeah.
people who are in the membership, and within the actual membership, a competition to really encourage them to create some fabulous content without having to getting totally overwhelmed. We don't want anybody to be overwhelmed by marketing. That is our mantra. We
Mhm.
want people to use simple resources that are not expensive, and so that they don't get overwhelmed, and so that they can be efficient and effective. That is our wish, because so many people get overwhelmed, they start spinning the wheels, they lose their confidence, and they just drop off the radar and they stop doing what the world needs them to do, and that is to help people. So we're helping
Exactly.
people help
Yeah.
people.
And of course, all of this is happening week on. Every week, there's something new, something different. So it's not just, whilst we're recording this now, that you can be assured that going forward, that there will be many other innovative new ideas, new happenings in the club going forward. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. I mean, this week alone, we're giving into the membership, we're giving four videos that people can use for their waiting room videos. So
Mm.
when people come into my waiting room, they'll see these lovely ships on the Humber sailing down the Humber, quite hypnotic. It lets them know that they need to get relaxed and to turn off any distractions. I've actually created a video for each season, and that's going into the membership this week, and with instructions of how to edit them and put their own logos on there
Mm.
as well.
Mm.
So
Mm.
there's always things, we're content creation machines. That's what we like to think of ourselves as.
Yeah.
And with the
Yeah.
advent of AI and the skills that I mean, between us, you and I have probably got over 50 years of marketing experience,
Wow.
both online and offline.
Wow.
I set up my own print and design company when I was 21. So to give you
Yes.
an idea.
Yeah. So you've vast experience and you bring all that to the table.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I was going to ask you a question, but it got out of my head. Yeah. Is there anything else, Kevin, that you just want to get across to our viewers and listeners at this stage?
Keep it simple when it comes to
Yeah.
marketing yourself. You have a voice, you are your business. And to turn up and to be present and to be authentic is the most important thing. But at the same time, my philosophy is to be in service and to be generous as well.
Mm, mm.
And if you come there with your hand open to give, you've got your hand open to receive as well.
Excellent. Lovely. Wonderful. And just briefly, give us some feedback or maybe mention the feedback. That was my question that you're getting from the participants in the members club. Tell us what magic is happening there.
Well, in some cases, it's actually transformative. To see people ranking on the YouTube for their videos in position one
Yeah.
within minutes of them uploading it, to see people getting some clear direction on their purpose. It's really getting some clarity, and we're seeing that with so many people. I mean, the amount of people who have sent me private messages to say, and they do share this within the actual membership as well, to say, just got my first 3 inquiries this week. That's not happened before. And when I think, what have they done that's different? There've been small changes, or they've stopped doing something that has been detrimental. I say to them, if you're always leaning in to try and get people's attention, then I can guarantee you that people are leaning out, because people don't like to be leaned in on if they don't know you and trust you and like you already. So you've got to get people to lean in and pay attention to you. In order to do that,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
be selling.
Providing that information, that content.
Yeah, you're providing value. And
Yeah,
I know
value.
controversially, I posted, I think about a year ago on the Hypnosis Business Club, I posted something along the lines of your bank balance is a reflection of the value you bring to the world. A couple of people kind of like jolted back from that and took it personally. And it wasn't a personal statement. It was a business statement.
Of
As
course.
a business, it's an exchange of value.
Yeah,
We're bringing
exactly.
value and they give us value back. They pay us. And so if there's nothing in the bank, that tells us that we're not bringing any value to people. So we've got to find ways of bridging that gap of the value we've got to bring and the value they've got to give us. And that's what we're doing within the Therapy Business Club. We're helping
Great.
people to recognize how to bridge that gap. They have the skills. People are out there who need those skills, that help. And it's about putting them together. And it's
Mm,
all about communication. That's all
yeah.
it is, communicating.
And of course, Kev, there are people out there who need our help
Mm.
as hypnotherapists. And I think by following what the resources that you have available, you can do that in a much quicker, faster, easier way.
Yeah, I mean, people are coming out of their training as hypnotherapists, and if they can hit the ground running, while they've still got that enthusiasm. I mean, I talk a lot about enthusiasm because it's that energy, that spirit, that thrill of why they got into it. It's still alive, and then you
Mm,
see it go like this. Because I hadn't any clients, so
yeah.
I tested it out on my friend, and they weren't very impressed. And all of a sudden, their spirits are dampened. Well, if you get straight into hit the ground running, and you get some good coaching support from someone who knows what they're doing, someone who's been out there, I'd like to say that I've got the battle scars of business. So it's kind of like I would only go into battle with somebody with scars. That's the only person I'd go into battle with as a leader. Um, so we've got those things to share, those experiences. Both you and I have got so many experiences to share with people, and we've done many things. Ewan
Yeah.
has got an incredibly diverse career path that he's followed. I've got a very diverse career path that I followed. All of those things inform and teach us. And there isn't a moment that I don't draw from those experiences and share. So I love sharing.
Priceless. It's priceless.
Hmm.
It's of an enormous, immense value. Well, that was wonderful, Kev. Finally, how can we, people out there, listeners, viewers, who is in a situation, or even hypnotherapists who need that help, finally, how did they contact you?
Okay, well, they can get in touch with me through my website, which is quite simply kevwebster.com.
Yeah.
Or they can go and find me on Facebook, and they'll see me there as Kev Webster. And as I said, they'll recognize the cap. Or they can go on to Facebook and they can look for the Hypnosis Business Club as well. If anyone wants to join the membership, then they can go to therapybusinessclub.com and they will see exactly what's on offer there for the membership as well. The whole front page is there where they can explore all the different resources and they can see what's offered, what entry level offer there is at the time. At the moment, it's $27 for 14 days and then upgrades to $47. Or there is a free option where they can get access to limited resources, but even try before they buy. So there are options there. We don't want to exclude anybody. We know that quite often when you're first starting out, cash can be tight and they want to get a few customers under the belt. And so we want to make it accessible. But even in the Hypnosis Business Club, there are enough resources in there to get them really on the right track. And I'm always available if somebody wants to just send me a little messenger message and say, is there any chance that we could just jump on a quick call? And I do those every day of the week.
And in essence, Kevin, it's a community of a supportive community of like-minded people out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was wonderful, Kev. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your knowledge, and indeed for giving us the benefit of that on this podcast. So I'll say thank you so much. And until next time, thank you, Kev Webster.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It's been wonderful.
You have been listening to the Professional Hypnotherapist podcast, a production of the European Association of Professional Hypnotherapists. That's EAPH.ie. And I have been your host, Aidan Noon. Why not take a trip over to EAPH.ie and find the hypnotherapist just waiting to hear from you right now. That's all for the moment. Thanks for watching and listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.